What if your cat has been following a set of rules this whole time, and quietly judging whether you follow them too? Most owners would say they know their cat, but the truth is, cats have silent expectations that go far deeper than food, water, or a warm lap. They're testing you every single day. And if you keep breaking these rules, which most people do without ever realizing it, your cat won't say a word. They'll just quietly, slowly, begin to trust you a little less. Let's start with the one almost every owner gets wrong. Usually, while thinking they're doing something kind, most people think that looking into their cat's eyes is a moment of connection. You settle in close, you find those eyes looking back at you, and you hold that gaze. Because that's what love looks like to a human. And then your cat looks away. You figure they got distracted. Maybe something moved across the room. But here's what was actually happening. In cat language, a direct, sustained stare is not affection. It's a challenge. When you lock eyes with your cat and hold that gaze even a few seconds too long, your cat's ancient brain reads it the same way it would in the wild, as the loaded silence right before a confrontation. Every instinct they carry is hardwired to recognize that stare as a threat. A study published in the journal Animal Cognition found that cats actively move away from people who stare at them directly, but move closer to people who offer a slow blink and look away first. That slow blink isn't a cute accident. It's a complete sentence in their language. It means, I see you, I'm no threat to you, and I trust you enough to look away. So the next time you want to tell your cat you love them, don't hold the stare. Blink slowly. Look away first, and watch what they do in the 30 seconds that follow. And pay close attention to the last part of this video, because where your cat chooses to sleep at night is actually the final verdict on how much of this trust they've extended to you. The answer might change the way you see everything. Now here's something that will permanently reframe every petting session you've ever had. Your cat is in your lap, warm, purring, eyes half closed. The moment feels perfect. And then, out of nowhere, they turn and bite your hand. Not a play nip, a real one. And you're left sitting there, stung and confused, replaying the last 30 seconds and finding nothing. Here's the truth most owners never hear. You didn't do anything cruel. You just didn't stop. Cats have a neurological threshold for physical touch, and when you cross it, what their body was reading as pleasure flips, fast and completely, into something their nervous system can no longer tolerate. Researchers call it petting-induced aggression. It happens because repeated stimulation begins to overwhelm the nerve receptors just beneath their skin. Think of someone pressing one finger to the same spot on your arm and rubbing it over and over without stopping. The first few seconds feel fine. Then it becomes strange, then uncomfortable, then unbearable. And that's exactly what your cat's body was doing, while their face still looked peaceful and the moment still looked sweet from where you were sitting. The warning signs were there the entire time. A tail beginning to twitch at the tip, ears shifting back just slightly, a ripple moving across the skin of their back. Most owners miss every single one because they're watching the cat's face, and the face still looks calm. The rule is simple, but it asks you to actually pay attention. Pet in short sessions. Watch the tail, not the face. The moment you see any of those signals, stop, right then. Let your cat step away if they need to, and let them come back on their own terms. Because when they do come back and press their head into your hand themselves, that's not just affection. That's your cat choosing you freely. And that version of closeness is worth more than any forced moment that ends in a bite. Here's one that almost no one considers, and it quietly causes more stress than most owners will ever realize. You moved their blanket. You rearranged the living room. You finally threw out that worn cardboard box they kept returning to. The one that made the whole space look messy. The one you couldn't understand why they cared about so much. To you, it was just tidying up. To your cat, you reached into the center of their world and took something that made them feel safe. Cats don't share your home the way a roommate shares an apartment. They map it, entirely through scent and territory. Every spot they choose gets layered with pheromones from their face and paws. That invisible marking is how they say, "This is mine. This is familiar. I am safe here." It isn't decoration. It's the structure their sense of security is built on. So when that blanket disappears, when the furniture shifts, when the box gets thrown out, the anchor is gone. The scent is gone. And they have absolutely no way of understanding why. A study from the Journal of Feline Medicine and Surgery found that environmental disruption is one of the leading triggers of chronic stress in indoor cats, capable of causing anxiety, appetite changes, and litter box avoidance from something as small as moving their bed across the room. The rule is quieter than the others. It asks you to see your cat's chosen spots as real decisions, made deliberately, built slowly, worth respecting. And if you must change something, do it gradually, a little at a time, so your cat's world shifts slowly enough that they never have to feel like the ground disappeared overnight. This next one is so ordinary that almost nobody thinks of it as something that could matter. You talk to your cat while they eat. Maybe you crouch nearby and say something sweet, or you stand close while they're at the bowl. It feels warm. It feels like the kind of small, quiet care that good owners give. But your cat's nervous system isn't registering warmth in that moment. Mealtime is the single most vulnerable point in any cat's day. Head down, senses narrowed. Every ancient instinct they carry is quietly signaling that this is the moment of greatest exposure. And that instinct doesn't disappear just because they've never once faced a real predator inside your home. So when you hover over their bowl, when your voice enters that space, when your hand reaches toward them mid-meal, part of your cat's mind peels away from eating and begins tracking you instead. You can't see the stress, but it's there, running beneath the surface of what looks like a perfectly ordinary dinner. Over time, it becomes visible. Cats who feel pressured at the bowl start eating too fast, guarding their food, or avoiding it in ways that seem completely mysterious. The rule is one of the simplest ones here. When your cat is eating, step back. No words, no touch, no presence looming over them. Those few minutes at the bowl are the one time of day that belongs entirely to them. Now this one. Think honestly about whether you did this today. You came home. The door opened. You were carrying something, or already halfway through a thought about everything that still needed to happen. And your cat was right there, waiting at the door or watching from across the room, completely still, completely focused on you. And you walked past them. To you, it was nothing. You'd get to them in a minute. But to your cat, that moment at the door was not incidental. It was the whole point. Cats don't greet casually. When your cat positions themselves where you'll see them the moment you walk in, that is a deliberate social gesture, one that carries real weight in how they experience their bond with you. Researchers studying feline behavior have found that cats form distinct greeting rituals with the humans they trust, patterns that mirror exactly how they greet other cats they feel safe with. A slow approach, a tail carried high, Sometimes a small, quiet chirp they reserve for the people who matter most. That is your cat saying, with their entire body, "I noticed you came back, and I'm glad." When that goes unanswered, when you walk through it without a glance, without a word, without even a pause, your cat doesn't react. They don't follow you or cry or make you feel the weight of what just happened. They just quietly file it away. And over time, those missed moments accumulate. Your cat stops showing up at the door. The chirp disappears. The tail stays down. Not because something broke, because they learned, slowly and without any drama, that you don't follow that rule. The fix takes 3 seconds. A slow blink the moment you walk in. One soft word in a warm tone. That is the entire greeting your cat has been waiting for. Every single day you've come home. And now, the one that ties everything together. Earlier, we talked about staring into your cat's eyes and how they read that as a threat. We talked about the spots they claim, the meals they need protected, the greetings they give and wait to have returned. All of it, every single rule, is pointing toward one thing: safety. And where your cat chooses to sleep at night is the final, most honest answer to whether they've found it with you. A cat who sleeps on your chest, pressed close to your face, is doing something that goes directly against every survival instinct they carry. Sleep is total vulnerability. Every guard drops, every defense goes quiet. And your cat is choosing to be in that state right next to you. A creature 15 times their size, capable of moving without warning. That is not warmth-seeking. That is not habit. That is complete, unguarded trust, offered to you in the most silent way possible. A cat who sleeps at the foot of the bed trusts you, but they're still watching, still learning your patterns, still holding on to just enough distance to feel free. That small gap isn't rejection. It's the last inch of space they need before they can let everything go. And a cat who sleeps in another room entirely isn't withholding love, but it may mean that something in your daily routine, one of the quiet, unintentional things we talked about today, has left them feeling like they need a little more room before they can fully let their guard down. None of this is permanent. Every single day is a new chance to follow the rules your cat has been quietly, patiently waiting for you to understand. Tonight, when your cat decides where they sleep, you'll finally know what they're telling you.